Aye, what a year it's been. For us personally, for our communities, and for climate change. It's been over a year since we all met for the first time back in November 2020. So I'd like to take a few minutes to reflect on what's happened over the past year, what you achieved in the Climate Assembly, the developments in science and policy, and looking forward, how we can collectively build on your work. First, let me start with you, Scotland's Climate Assembly. Over 7 weekends from November to March 2021, you listened to expert evidence, you discussed and you deliberated. It was intense, it was eye-opening. Sometimes it was frustration with the process, sometimes it was energising. And you dived into detailed ideas on how Scotland might change to tackle the climate emergency in a fair and effective way. How should Scotland change its working practices and support its people to change work? How should Scotland change the way it plans communities or the way we buy things, our use of resources and materials? And how should Scotland measure success as a country and of the businesses that operate in it? At the end of this process, the Assembly published an interim report with your statement of ambition and 16 overarching goals. Then in June, your full report was published, putting 81 recommendations to the Scottish Government. So there's been a lot of change over the last year. More clarity from the scientists on the urgency of climate change, more targets set by politicians, more commitments and real action from businesses, investors, cities and regions to tackle it. But while commitments and targets are important, what really matters is having all the climate actions in place to achieve those commitments. Without them, we have what's been called a credibility gap. You'll have a chance shortly to consider how the Scottish Government has responded to your recommendations. But I think what the last year has shown is that the time for pledges is over. The time for doing is here. And this should be the legacy of Scotland's Climate Assembly.